Today we're at the Chicago Auto Show and we made a stop here at Ford because we're going to take a look at a couple trucks. And if we're talking trucks, then Ford is not a bad place to stop. Specifically, what we're going to take a look at is going to be the off-road segment of trucks, and Ford has quite a few offerings here today. We'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way up, but what that's going to start with is going to be the Ford Maverick with the Tremor package. Now, for those who may not know, Tremor is going to be the most off-road trim of the variety of packages Ford offers with their vehicle. And for the Maverick, it's a bit unusual because the Maverick is not what most would call a big off-road truck, but with the Tremor package, we do get a couple things that make it just a little bit more unique. We'll start here at the front because if this is not the hardcore truck, then we have to figure out what makes it a little bit more off-roady. And it's a very small thing, but you're gonna find a lot more graphics in the world of off-road packages. And so we have a nice little hood graphic here on each side, a simulated tire tread. But if you're looking at Ford trucks and you see this yellow gold, that's gonna indicate the Tremor trim. So we do have the gold yellow bar here, and it's not an off-road truck if it doesn't have tow hooks. And we also have the gold painted tow hooks here. Now, paired with this specific color, I think this is a great combination. As much as it's nice to look at, you may not use these very often, and you certainly hope you wouldn't, but I do like a little bit of an appearance package that in some sense can have some functionality. Now, moving back to the side of the truck, this is not, as you'll see, a very large vehicle. This is a front-wheel drive based platform. This one happens to be all-wheel drive, but we do get a little bit of upgrade in the tire wheel suspension realm of things. This tire is going to be a little bit bigger than you get on most other Mavericks. It's got just a little bit more sidewall, and we do have that yellow gold accent here on the wheel. Again, a pretty small touch, but this combined with a very small lift means we get a little bit more ground clearance, and so in theory we can get a little bit farther off the trail while still being able to get to and from where we need to go. Nobody is needing a step here on the side of the truck. You also notice there's no rock rail because this really is not meant to do any rock crawling. But we do get another sticker package here that says Tremor. Again, if it's well built in, if it's well integrated, I do like a good sticker. And of course, we get a little bit more functionality here with the bed rails. Maverick built in right here. You can of course order this as an individual accessory, but if you're getting the Tremor package, and your truck may not be able to do all that the other Tremors can, it might as well look like it can. And again, you may be able to utilize this on a regular basis, but it's a small add that I think goes quite a ways. If the Maverick was more of an appearance and slight upgrade package as far as capability, when we move on to the Ranger Raptor, we're gonna get a lot more performance. Now, exclusive to this Ranger is going to be the 3-liter V6 EcoBoost that's putting out 405 horsepower and 430 foot-pounds of torque. This is not a huge truck, and that is quite a bit of power. You'll also notice that we are going to get some suspension and serious off-road upgrades here in the wheels, tires, and suspension area. We do not only have a small lift, we have a fully upgraded suspension. This vehicle is meant to go fast just about everywhere, and that's what folks are looking for when you get the name Raptor on the side of your vehicle. Now, we've been waiting for the Ranger Raptor for quite a few years. I have not yet driven it myself, but I am very excited to do so. With the Raptor, we do get a graphics package, similar to what we saw on the Maverick, but again, a well-placed graphic is something that I am absolutely on board with. If we swing around farther to the back, we will notice that there is no rail system back here. On the Maverick, it was more of an aesthetic upgrade. It's not necessarily going to add a whole lot of function, and for the Raptor, the Ranger Raptor, it really is about performance. We do have tow hooks, but they're not yellow because this is not a Tremor, this is a Raptor. You may see people do something different, paint them red, but from the factory here, this is all you need to know. It does not need yellow accents to tell you that this is a serious performance vehicle. We do have a dual exhaust straight out. We're trying to keep everything a little bit higher off the ground if we are doing some off-roading. And specifically what we find with the Raptor and the way their suspension is built is that the off-roading it's trying to do is really high speed, more desert, dune. Maybe you're looking at a general off-road trail, dirt and gravel, but this thing is meant to go fast, which is why we see on the side here a bump out on the original body line that we would see on a Ranger, because we need to fit bigger tires, we need to expand our stance to get a little bit more stability. And once you have all those things in place, and as long as they're well implemented, you've got one heck of a truck that can go real fast a whole lot of places. From what's under the hood to what's below the hood. If you've ever seen these amber lights behind you in traffic or on the freeway, chances are it is a Raptor, because this has been around for nearly 15 years. And the reason this exists, for people who may not know, is because of just how wide this truck is. I mean, this is a wide truck. And these side ambers are a regulatory thing about how wide the vehicle is to make sure that you can see that there's a lot more of it than you expect. We've got a large grille opening. We do need a lot of air coming into the vehicle. For this model, unlike we saw on the Ranger Raptor, we do have red tow hooks. But like we saw on the Ranger Raptor, that's a distinct difference than the Tremor package, is that we are getting some serious suspension upgrades. There is enough ground clearance under here for me to essentially crawl under if I wanted to, but I don't want to get kicked out of the auto show, so we're going to ignore that for the moment. From the Maverick with slightly more tire to the Ranger Raptor with even more tire, we are getting a ton of tire here on the Raptor R and its sibling, the Raptor. We're also getting not just solid wheels, but we're getting beadlock capable wheels if that's something that you end up needing. And under here, we have a serious shock system that is not only adjustable, but also somewhat configurable between the different models. So you can really get the most out of what you are looking for in your Ranger Raptor R. Beyond the little graphics package here, which I do think is subtle enough, but still worthwhile, we are going to get a step up, which I mentioned we do not have in the Maverick, because again, this is a big truck, but this is going to be a sturdier step than what you find in a regular F-150 or maybe a Ford Escape or a Ford Explorer, where you just need a little bit more. That one is not just seemingly powder coated, but almost feels like rhino lined. That's meant to take a beating, but also keep on serving you. The wheel arches are going to be significantly bumped out because, again, we are getting a significantly wider wheel. We're getting a wider stance, and this needs to go faster than that Ranger Raptor with a lot more power. So we need to be able to put that down and keep on going. With the bigger truck comes more capability, and we are certainly getting a bigger truck, which means a bigger bed for those of you who do intend to use it for such a purpose. Now, beyond that, we're also getting some of the Ford trademarks. We do have some of the functional pieces that you would need maybe on a construction site, though you certainly wouldn't need this to get there. We have our ruler for cutting and measuring. If you're paying this much for a truck, you want to make sure you're getting the most of it. So features like the automatic tailgate and the built-in step are certainly nice to have. But as we swing around to the rear, we also get one of the other Raptor staples, which is going to be the Ford logo embossed here in a very different fashion than the traditional blue oval. We did see that on the front end as well. And with our tow hooks here, we're going black instead of red, but our exhaust is also going to be black. It's meant to be sort of a stealthy performance look, and honestly, I think pulled off very, very well. We'll close out this off-road truck journey here at the F-150 Lightning. I'm going to call this the off-road toy, because so far this is not a production intent or anything else, but this is really a high-speed Baja version of the Lightning, where the powertrain has remained the same, which means that it's incredibly powerful as we get in the XLT large battery all-wheel drive Lightning. But what we've done is made a couple big changes to the suspension, as we see in the other models. So tires, wheels, suspension, all the way through, and if something breaks, I'm told we go back and make a better one. And you'll also see a significant change in the body panels because this stance is significantly wider. We also have, I think, really just the fun pieces. We've got some body cladding up here, sort of a rear spoiler. We also have a chase rack with the enormous spare tires, because this thing will do about 95 on any terrain. So you do want to make sure that you have backups in case something goes wrong, because inevitably it will. Now, as I mentioned, this is not something that's in production, ready to go, but this is what we'll be seeing in the future, which is electric vehicles being geared towards not just on-road performance, as many are today, but seeing what they're capable of off-road. Because as long as we're not going incredible distances, these should be just as capable as anything else. And for me, if you're tearing through the woods like I do in the Pacific Northwest, or if you're tearing through the dunes, I think having a quiet truck is sort of an interesting way to do it, because then you can hear the tires, you can hear the sand, the rocks, the dirt. It's just a very different sort of experience. So if you're looking for an off-road truck, Ford thinks they've got an option for you in nearly every category. And we're certainly looking at different capabilities, certain levels of either performance or function. but not only the trucks for the moment, but trucks for the future. As I said, we are not likely to see this in production anytime soon, but they are thinking forward on what can they do next. What are we able to do with electrification, hybrids, full electric vehicles, and make sure that we can still have the fun that folks are looking for on a regular basis. Let me know of all these vehicles, which one you would want to get the keys to for a couple days. Leave that down in the comment section below. Follow us on all our social media sites, Instagram, Facebook, X, any of those other social places. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.